Hey everybody, and welcome to the Army Showcase. The Army Showcase takes a look at different armies or forces from different games. Now, in today's episode, we're going to have a look at an army from MERCS. Now, MERCS is a science fiction skirmish game that was made by MegaCon Games, and it's now part of the Fifth Angel Studio roster of games. This game came out in 2010. Right, so what is MERCS? MERCS is basically an acronym for Military, Economic, Reconnaissance, Combat, and Security. So it's basically a tactical skirmish tabletop game set, and it's pretty much set in the dystopian future where powerful mega corporations control the world. It's really a fast paced rule set, and it's squad based. Now the faction we're going to have a look at is called the FCC, or the Free Corporate Control. This is basically House 9 in the set. So the FCC basically opposes the more dominant corporate entities within the game. And also the FCC is unique in that they can hire black op members from other factions. So it actually adds flexibility to their strategy and tactics and gameplay. It's also a very versatile force with specialized operatives, but the operatives you don't get in the main set. Now the box we're going to have a look at today is from the first edition of the set. This game started in the 2010, around thereabouts, and MegaCon Games actually had a slight of a buzz happening around MERCS. Of course, these days you can actually find MERCS from, again, as I said, Fifth Angel Studios, and they are made out of PVC. Now the box we're going to have a look at today is from the first set, and this is the metal figures. So let's have a look at that very quick. All right, everybody, so we're going to have a look at this box over here. This is the MERCS box, House 9 FCC, and this is the do you want to call it the first edition box, I guess. They don't make this anymore because they now release MERCS figures in plastic or PVC. So let's have a look inside. Now it's really interesting when they package this, because when you get it in the box, and everything you need to play is in it. So you got the cards to play, right? And then you have the miniatures and the dice. Now check this out. Check out the dice that you get with each set. I'm sure they give it now as well, but it has the logo. I think it's kind of cool. So let's have a quick look at the metal figures. Let's have a look at this one over here. The poses are quite nice. Of course, it needs an arm over here as well, but the pose is quite nice. It's kind of slim. It's slightly thicker than Infinity, I guess. Slightly, just very slightly. In fact, these figures were supposed to be the ones that were to compete with Infinity. Well, at the time, of course, at the time. Then you got this sprue here with little bits. So what else we got here? We got this figure right here, and this. Yeah, they look good actually. They don't look that bad. But of course, if you were to match this up with an equal a competitor or a rival, both have a distinct look about them. Let's see. Considerable amount of detail on the figures. They don't exactly make these metal figures anymore. So you can probably get them when you look on the secondary market, on eBay, or in people's private collections. More dice here. Let's have a look at that. Legs, torsos. Yeah, some seem to have the head sculpted on, some don't. Some bits over there. Yeah, there's a torso, and then you got more of the arms and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's also kind of cool because they give you this storage thing as well. Oh, it's stuck here. To put everything in. So I thought it was a really nice way to like push a product. I mean, you also get you get a quick reference sheet, which is kind of nice in the box as well. So it's everything you need to play in the box, which is kind of cool. Um, but they don't do this anymore. Had a look on the new site with Fifth Angel, and most of the sculpts look the same, but they're now in PVC form. So yeah, without any further ado, let's see what SL did with these figures very quickly. Right, so let's have a look at the figures offhand, or on their own. Now, so I have to actually figure this first figure is they call this one the member. I like the fact that he's got a hat on. He looks very casual. The painting style that SL went for is very. He wanted to paint a force that looked quite modern, so you could use the figures in a modern game. And I thought that was a really great idea. So some of the figures have like this blue jeans thing happening. This figure is posed very very nicely. He's got this like nice little bionic eye, as well, which I thought was kind of neat. Of course, when it comes to poses, there's just so many poses you can do with sci-fi skirmish. I thought this was an interesting pose. In fact, I think most of the poses in the Merc set is not bad. It's really pretty good. But actually, the hat and the little mustache adds to this. Now, the thing is, the reason SL went with getting them painted as like modern day operators is because he wanted to use the miniatures in another game altogether, which actually makes sense. The next miniature we're gonna have a look at. This is the engineer. This is quite nice. This figure has a bandana, again blue jeans, and this very modern day black ops operators, or mercenary groups. Again, he was saying that the only way this would work and be attractive to him is if he could use the miniatures for another game altogether. Now, at this point, let's not forget that Infinity was happening, and quite a big game at the time. But the reason he also got the game is because Wolf Game Shop actually had them on the shelves, and they wanted a game that was sci-fi, that was easier and simpler to run. And let me just say, the MERCS game is actually quite simple and easy to play. The next figure we're going to have a look at is the Boomer. Now, according to SL, he tried to paint the shark motif on the face cover, which I can't really see it happening from this angle, simply because well, the figure's pretty small, and I can't really see it. But in the art by the company itself, there's actually some mouth, a shark's mouth apparently on it. But this one also is quite nice. This Boomer figure seems to be carrying what is sort of a shotgun for close combat encounters. And I guess that's why they call him Boomer, because of the boom from the stick. This is a very nice figure. I like how it's got the goggles on and the face mask on. So there's less emphasis on the face and more on the pose, which I thought was quite interesting. The next figure that we're going to have a look at is the Liaison. This one is this Liaison figure looks like it's tracking something on its wrist device, while holding one of those single hand assault weapons. And I didn't play Mercs so much, so I can't really identify the weapon offhand for you, but the Liaison pose is actually quite nice. It's one of the few different kinds of poses that you can do when you are in universe. So this figure looks like he's actually checking back on base to report back, or he's probably looking perhaps at a map or something on his heads-up display. Actually, you know what? If SL had put a little bit of a heads-up display, hologram thing on the wrist, that would have been really, really, really cool. But having said that, the pose is quite nice. Now, if you had looked at the earlier bits for this figure, it was more complete, so you couldn't really work around this figure so much. So this was the more set up and preset posed figure. The next figure we're gonna have to look at is the jammer. Now if I was gonna vote which one would be most similar to modern day sci-fi skirmish game figure, generic, I would go with the jammer, simply because of the helmet, and the way it's posed. But of course, the big win is the use of color. I think the fact that SL used a lot of muted colors, and SL also decided that he wanted to go for a more modern looking force. It really changes how you look at the jammer. Now, if you look at the original or the studio art for this one, it looks pretty sci-fi, but the minute you glaze over the weapon that the figure is equipped with, this could easily fit into any modern day rule set from a distance. The next figure we're gonna have a look at, which is the final figure. This is the master. Now, this one was interesting because of what's happening with the model. It's got this extra bit, which is I want to say evocative, but I'm gonna say it makes the figure look a little bit more dynamic when you have something like sashing out like that. But it's a very nice looking figure. I mean, if anything, this figure will be the closest one to something more Infinity or more later Infinity. In fact, most of the MERCS figures feel like Infinity figures when they were first starting out. But let's not take anything away from MegaCon, which were the guys who actually molded these figures first. Now, the sculpts are really, really nice, very, very action packed, and I want to say that for its time, the MERCS rule set was good. Like I said, I've only played 1 or 2 games, but I remember the rules being quite tight with it. So I was very, very surprised and very, very happy when SL came by the shop and said, I've got some figures, and would you like to feature them? And I said, yeah, of course, I'd really like to feature them. Anything that you paint, I mean, they all turn out quite nicely. So yeah, that's pretty much the set. Very simple set where, like I said, it comes with dice, it comes with 6 figures, it comes with the cards, everything you need to play, and even the measuring uses the cards to measure, which I thought was a brilliant idea. It's a pity this game didn't really get a huge audience, but the fans that it does have seem to be very loyal to the game and to the brand. Now, if you like any of the figures, the same figures are available on Fifth Angel Studio as PVC models. I do not own any of the Fifth Angel Studio PVC models, so I can't tell you how good they look. But if I'm just looking at the pictures, I think it's about the same. So that's pretty much it. That's the set for you. The set is I guess no longer available. You can actually find them on the secondary market. So if you like these kind of retro unboxings or looking inside the box, like and subscribe. As long as there are some nice figures out there, I will keep on featuring them. So yeah, like and subscribe, and don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.